Welcome back, everyone. So this video I'm going to be talking about Shit Vic here, formerly known as 2K16, for those returning from like maybe Instagram, TikTok, maybe even previous YouTube videos. Now I'm going to first off say this car didn't always look like this. Maybe the first year and a half this car looked rather decent, besides some body damage from when I ran into a guardrail, and I'll go into that in a little bit. This car has had a lot of ups and downs throughout the 3 years I've owned it, and this video is more or less discussing what the future of this car is going to be. And I'm not going to lie, it's not very promising. So first I'm going to start off with what the original plans were for this car. Now, they were kind of all over the place. They went from being, you know, rather reasonable to kind of ridiculous. And then when everything kind of went bad with this car, it just went like astronomically ridiculous. And then when I did some digging into this car, as the condition of it, you know, some underlying problems, all my plans just dropped for this car. So this car is just a beater right now. Now, going back a little bit, backtracking, what were my plans for this car? This car was rather nice looking. It was just a white Crown Vic with a push bumper on the front. I was going to leave it that, which kind of resembled the old like state police cars for PA back in the day. With the exception, I wasn't going to have the chrome centers on. I was going to have the silver hubcaps on. Now, the only other thing I was going to add to the car was I was going to add a Federal Signal Radian to the roof, which was on the car when it was in service for Lower Marion, and just kind of pay like tribute to what the car originally looked like, with some little added personal features that I wanted. Now, I'm going to go into some later videos about why I liked my push bumper, and you know, why I like my my silver hubcaps over the chrome centers or whatever. Now, my plans kind of got a little sidetracked when I ran this thing into a guide rail going around a corner. Now, going from the back, I fucked the bumper up, kind of ripped this chunk out. That's been replaced. Mashed this in. It's been pulled out a little. Still needs some Bondo work. Well, needed Bondo work. I'm not going to do it now. This door needed fixed. This is off of a Reading taxi cab door. This one opens, the other one doesn't. This one was also off of a Reading taxi cab, and I don't know what happened to the trim. This had trim, and I guess they just ripped off. And then this fender I got from a junkyard. That light came off of the 05 Vic, also known as the SCP Vic. Actually, all the lights on the front came off the SCP Vic. So the original plan for this car was rather reasonable, just a white Vic with a push bumper and a light bar. Then, I'm not going to go over the next one. The next one was really ridiculous. It involved lowering the car, different rims, tires that put off a different color smoke, engine mods. Like, I was going to make this thing ridiculous, kind of like the SCP car and the plans with that car, and I'll go over that in the next video. But this thing went into Philly for like a weekend. I'll say less than 48 hours. And this thing got destroyed, and I don't even know why. Like, it was on Aramingo and Cotman, and from front to back this car got destroyed. Now, starting from the front bumper got mangled. I don't know by what, but it got mangled. This light kind of got ripped out. Someone tried cutting the hood apart. Someone went underneath. They tried sealing the cats. On the driver's side, looks like their sawzall died. On the passenger side, it looked like they were trying to use a drill to drill through the pipe. I don't know why. It's fixed now. It's kind of fixed in a ridiculous way because he fucked up the pipe on the passenger side, but that's fixed. The bumper on the front of this car ain't even for a Crown Vic. It's for like an 01 or an 02 Grand Marquis. And the only reason why it has a bumper is because I got in trouble for not having a bumper. And then this car got graffitied all over, and the back light got shot with a BB gun. Yeah, right there. And then just a bunch of scratches and dents and dings. And so after that had happened, this car was just going to be a parts car. So I'd park it in the garage and was just pulling parts off of it for the SCP Vic. Specifically when that car started having engine issues, because I'm pulling the alternator off, the throttle body off, sensors off, because I have a full parts car and I know everything on this car worked for the most part. Oh, and this light is here. It just kind of fell out and went there. Yeah, this car was just a parts car. Well, when SCP Vic started acting up, I had to bring this one back out. So I threw this car back together and kind of did a shitty ass paint job with a bunch of rattle cans. Threw the 05 rims on this because this was sitting on blocks, and rolled it out the door. Now, originally this was just a beater until SCP car got fixed. As I'm, you know, flip-flopping back and forth with ideas, I had an idea of making another SCP car, but this one a little more ridiculous than the other one. This one, I was going to use like military stencil style graphics on the doors, and this one was going to be like the real Mobile Task Force, or MTF. So I was going to lift it. I was going to put it on 30-inch tires, put a 3-inch lift on it. I was going to get like one of those massive like Humvee grills for the front, Humvee side steps. I was going to put Humvee antennas on the back. I found a guy who was able to make animated turrets of like 50 cals. I was going to put that on the roof, and I was just going to make a ridiculous kind of Mad Max mixed with SCP Foundation car. Well, the front end started making noise on me one day. It started making a clicking noise, and I found out there's a good bit of underlying issues that we don't see. So first off, it needs the outer tie rod end link, I think. It needs the upper control arm, the bushings are shot. The dust shield is coming off up front here. I got like 7 different engine codes for catalytic converge because the sensors got fucked up when we welded the pipes back together. It's got a fuel sensor issue. Fuel pump isn't reading the right fuel level in the car. And then they're jacked up wiring for the radio system, and I'll go over that now. They're jacked up wiring in the with the radio caught fire in this car. So in a previous video, I had showed this radio had like a toggle switch here to turn the radio on and off, and I found out later it's because this car was in an accident and the radio got like permanently disabled. And instead of just like running a fuse tap or just fixing wherever it was broken, they ran a hard line from the back of the radio to the switch here to the battery. So it, like, I wouldn't say caught fire. All the wire from the battery went up the fender, through the dashboard to here, then back through the dashboard again there. Singed. This car filled with smoke, and it looked like the car was catching on fire, and I was in a Walmart parking lot when it happened. So I quickly clipped the wire, kind of stopped it, and then rewired a fuse tap. So now this, I got to reset it every single time I turn the car on, but it's not going to catch fire now. So there was that issue. So we went over what the original plans were. Now what are the plans going to be for this car? So more or less I'm just going to do a bunch of like ridiculous stuff to this car. So I got a couple series in mind, doing like experimental videos, and like a series I want to do is what is it, junkyard mods, where I go to a junkyard and pull random stuff off of random cars and trucks there and add it to this car. Like I'm already thinking of like a Mitsubishi Eclipse spoiler going on the back, them old-fashioned like Ram tow mirrors on the sides, and just kind of doing some ridiculous stuff to it in that way. And then what I mean by experimenting is, it's an old cop car. How much like shit can this car go through before you kill it? I'm not going to go into too much detail over what some of them video ideas I have are going to be, but this car is going to be abused. Now I'm not going to start putting those videos out until after I get a replacement car for this, which I'm bidding on a 2014 Explorer right now, but that is not the car I want to end up with in the long run. The car I would like to get in the long run is like an 18 Dodge Charger all-wheel drive with the V8, and I want that car because at first I'm going to leave it kind of bone stock looking, and then I'm going to make another ridiculous looking ex-cop car build, like SCP car. That kind of current plans for the car now, doing a bunch of torture testing on the car, seeing what it can go through. And then the ultimate fate of this car, it's going to get either scrapped or it's going to get donated to the fire department like the other car and be used for accident training. This car has got a long way ahead of it yet, maybe another year at most. I want to get rid of it by the end of the year. So I'm bad at planning things and going by my plans, but if everything goes accordingly, I'm going to start uploading like videos of torture testing this car. Maybe next month, maybe July. I'll have a replacement for this car August, September. And then we're going to ultimately kill this thing off in October, November. And that'll be a wrap up for the Shit Vic, formerly known as 2K16. Stay tuned because I'm going to have other videos coming out. I'm planning on uploading a video every Friday. And sometimes I'm going to do double uploads, so one's going to come out Friday, following Saturday there's going to be another one coming up. And again, I know I'm not very good with sticking to my word when it comes to plans, but I got a little bit of motivation and I want to start sharing some of my adventures with these cars, because there have been a lot of interesting times in these cars, and I kind of want to show the potential of these cars and the cars I want to get in the future. So thanks again for watching, and stay tuned for the next video.